In a world plagued with significant macroeconomic issues and job losses, enterprises still need to deliver transformations, build products and solutions, delight customers. Project managers are still needed. But will the PM certification get you an interview? Is certification first the right way to get into project management? Welcome to Life and IT Project Management, where we connect the dots between the life we experience and the IT project management delivering it. So IT PMs, project leaders, CIOs, entrepreneurs, aspiring and experienced achieve real-world success. Our guest today is someone who is very much respected. He has been on a mission to help aspiring project managers gain practical experience, and he has done this in many ways, helping thousands to do so. Most well known for being the Prince 2 trainer, he has also provided required training in Agile, Scrum, ITIL 4 Foundation as well. Join me in welcoming Frank Turley.
Nice to be here, Justice. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking me for a chat. So let's see how we get on.
Fantastic. This will be another interview that the title will evolve with time. All right, so let me start with something very simple and straight. It's a simple question. What do you do?
Okay, so let me see what I do. Well, first of all, I'm a well-known project management trainer, and I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and that helps. I give a lot of stuff away online, and that helps. And I also, when I give training, I don't mind giving classroom training, but I don't give much of it. So what I prefer is to record the training, and then people can access the training by themselves and go through it again and again, and that makes it easier. And that means I have more time to talk to people. So that's what I do. And based on that, then if a person follows my training and they say thank you, I often, very often, probably easily once a day, sometimes twice a day, I have conversations with project managers, portfolio managers, and Zoom and Microsoft Teams is great because you can read stuff, which is great. But if you're talking to people who actually do it and where they're going, I learn a lot that way as well. So I'm like a sponge, and I always like to learn something. It's a two-way conversation, so that's good as well.
Fantastic.
Does that answer your question?
Fantastic. Yeah. The question, what do you do? That basically clearly spoke to the fact that when it comes to project management, you are in the trenches, you engage, you give, and you also learn. You sponge from others. So that is definitely beautiful. I learned that you also volunteer. What does that look like currently?
Yeah. I sometimes volunteer about 2 or 3 hours of every day. I'm in a very fortunate position that I can do it, and this part of the reach out as well. So you may ask, what do I mean by volunteer? What do I do? Well, I'm a member of a number of organizations. One is PM Squared, which is part of the European Union, and they've created a framework. I'll speak about more of this in a second. But I'm also a volunteer with another organization called Amimo, which is really about open project management. I mentioned more of that as well in a second. But so what do I do when I volunteer? Well, basically, it's part of me talking to people and giving advice. So if people are stuck on a project, and this works a lot with NGOs like the United Nations or I don't want to mention any other names because maybe I don't have the permission to do it. There are lots of project managers out there who are in the middle of a project and they don't know what to do next, and it's either breaking down a project or putting into planning. And I have conversations with them, and in those conversations, I'm giving tips on how to do it correctly. So that's really, really, really good. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Fantastic.
I get a lot of satisfaction from doing that, and it improves my learning as well. So I find myself working on all kinds of projects. One could be a building project. One could be an educational project for girls in some country in Africa. One could be a water development, water prediction leaks in the Middle East. All those kinds of projects. So it's great. Yeah. So Actually, if I added all the projects up to onto my CV that I was involved in, it would be kind of huge. But it's a great opportunity for me. So I'm really glad I can take advantage of this. Uh,
Fantastic, fantastic. So,
yeah.
yes, to what was said before, you are deep in the trenches, but specifically when it comes to associating with specific project management organizations, you did mention PM Squared and you also did mention Omino. Uh, for those two, why the association specifically those two at this time?
Well, let me go through them. So first of all, it's PMI. So PMI is famous. It's brilliant. They have a chapter in every country. And there are two really things I like about PMI. First of all, they have really made the role and the discipline of project management stand out. So they've done a lot of good work on this over the last 30 years and 40 years. They've done that very well. So I am very happy with that. Also, it's a great networking. If you want to meet other project managers and share concepts or ideas and learn, if you learn something, then you can have a local community to go with. And I have the opportunity as well to get invited to many of the European chapters as a speaker and sometimes to give workshops. And that's also great as well. So it's a good opportunity to meet other people, to transfer knowledge and to learn as well. So I'm very happy with that. I'm also a board member with PMI in Belgium. That's Belgium is a huge country in the center of Europe. I over-exaggerated. I say huge, but then I'm also involved with PM Squared. So with PM Squared, I actually worked in the European Union, in the offices of Europe, when this was created. And then now I'm an outsider, and I helped bring the certification and bring it into the public domain. So I'm happy with that. And it's used a lot by European institutions. Then Prince 2. Prince 2 is probably the number one certification in Europe, definitely in Europe, if not the whole world. And I know one as perhaps the most famous Prince 2 trainer out there because, I've been doing it for so long. I give so much stuff away and I'm always available for questions. So that's good as well. Prince 2 has done a lot for European project management also. And they have a very nice process for doing projects. And then I work with Omimo, and that's basically, and you could say it's like, it's an open community of enthusiasts and contributors and volunteers that wish to create open modules, minimalistic modules that can be put into the public domain to be used by everybody. So I get a lot of satisfaction for working with all of those or being involved with all of them.
Thank you. You did provide a lot of content with regards
Thank
to
you.
how you engage with each of the organizations. And that will lead me to my next question. Because as you engage with these organizations, the goal, of course, at the end of the day is the enhancement or the augmentation or the improvement in capacity and in competence of the project managers. So as you watch project managers and see them and engage with them, what are the biggest myths you heard them have across board?
Well, I'm going to say something really, really not so good now, but there's a statement which I say often that organizations do not hire project managers. I let that settle for a second. So you can respond by saying, "Hey, Frank, what do you mean?"
What do you mean?
Hey,
Yeah.
good question. So project organizations like to hire people who have good experience in a certain domain that can also do project management. That's a big difference. So you've got to have a good domain, got to understand your domain, whether it's construction or rolling out a certain ERP module, or it's in HR or developing apps for phone or nuclear development projects. You've got to know your domain. And then with project management experience, then you can become a project manager in that domain. That's how to begin. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people believe, and it's probably false advertising, that if you have this certification or that certification, your phone will start ringing, you'll get offered a job. So I get lots of people contacting me on LinkedIn saying, Frank, I'm desperate. I have this certification, I have that certification, and that certification, but I cannot find a job. And the first question I ask is, what's your domain? What are you good at? Besides project management, which area are you strong in? Okay, make that your area and bring project management to the surface with that, but make that your area. So how can you become known in that area? How can you build trust in that area? That's it. The second myth is that the world needs 20 or 30 million project managers by
The
2030.
demand side, yes.
Now, if I'm selling project management certifications, I definitely will say that, but it's not fair because you then build expectations. And as I'm going back to the question a while ago, that if people do these certifications and then the phone doesn't ring, some of them lose a lot of money, a lot of time, and they feel like they've failed in something because they have all of this, but they cannot find a job, and that's bad. So it doesn't help your confidence, and so we shouldn't be upsetting people or helping to destroy lives by having those myths there. I don't think that's very fair.
Wow, those two alone are very, very profound because they are commonplace basically. They are commonplace.
Yeah.
The first one regarding domain, domain depth is something that, especially, I don't want to mention a specific certification, but especially it's being so that once they have that certification, they get into tech and that's it. Yeah, that's it, and that's not really the truth.
People
And that
imagine that
leads me.
I'm sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
People
sir.
just imagine their phone will start ringing. As soon as they put their search on LinkedIn, they expect the phone to ring. It doesn't
No.
happen.
Yep.
Doesn't
Yep.
happen.
So then, how best can aspiring PMs, aspiring IT PMs, and those even switching industries, right? How best can they get into project management?
Okay. I'm going to go back to something that I mentioned a while ago. That's your domain. So you must know what your domain is. You have to build up expertise in that domain. What I mean by that is you have to have a certain knowledge. Also, you have to be trusted in that domain as well. So that will take maybe some time. So you have to invest in it. Spend like half an hour a day to 1 hour a day reading a little bit extra in that domain to build up the experience, talk to people. Then what you can do then is next talk to project managers in that domain. Ask them how they got their chance to do project management. If you're lucky enough that there are projects going on in your company, volunteer as an assistant to that project manager. You may have to spend an hour or two extra to do that in the evening or an hour in the evening, but don't worry about that. Do it because you're not paying for it. You're getting it for free. That's the way to see it. Some people take 2 years off and do a master's. They pay like 12 or 20,000 euro or dollars to do a master's. That's a huge investment. You don't have to do that. Your master's is sitting right next to you. It could be sitting on the same floor as you. So go and grab that knowledge. Let people know that you're hungry to get this data. And then once that's done and you can see what happens, then try to think of a certification to do, because that's good for your CV. And ask the local people for advice on the certifications to do. Don't ask me.
And that should ask you. So, in your experience as you engage with PMs, what certifications, quote unquote, are somewhat?
Oh God,
we'll get them the kick in the door. Let me put it that way.
Okay, I'm not going to answer that. But what I can say is the following: there are different regions in the world where different certifications are popular. So, for example, if you work in construction on huge construction projects in the US or oil and gas in the Middle East, there's a certain certification that has to be on your CV, definitely. So you can ask local people which certification is that, and they will give it to you. So that's the important thing. Now, And if you work in IT, there are other certifications you can do that. People mostly get certifications just for their CV. They don't really use the knowledge. So keep that in mind as well. Hopefully I've answered your question with that. Well, I haven't really, but that's as much as
I was thinking, all right then. Okay, I'll take it. We can move on to the next question. Looking at what you said, listening to what you said earlier regarding sponging up and offering to volunteer and all of that, in your own view, what are the most important skills for a project manager to master?
This is by far my favorite question, because, and this goes back to the certification question which you just asked me already. There were certain skills which a project manager should have inside them, really inside them. And if they have those, it will make project management much easier for them. Now, maybe another myth to have is, a myth would be project management is very difficult. It's not actually. Project management can be very straightforward if you have a good understanding from it. So try to keep your way of working as simple as possible. Do not try to make it over complex. So find a framework or a method which is easy to understand, easy to share with people, maybe even easy to teach, but most importantly, easy to use in your organization. That's the key. So, all right. Now, based on that, then what happens? What are the skills? A project manager is really a facilitator. Okay, they also do leadership and management, but together, really, they are a facilitator. They ask good questions, they bring people together, and they make things happen. That's what they do. So at the beginning of a project manager is able to recognize the appropriate people in the project, make sure they're at the meetings, the first 2 or 3 meetings, then facilitate what we can call like a project charter, a project brief, or a project description document. It's a vision document, very simple, which describes what we're trying to do in the project. So we create a vision for the project. And the people around the table, those are the ones who put the content there. The project manager facilitates this. So do not create this in your own dark room and go, hey, I've created this. Do you agree or not? That's not how it goes. So facilitate the creation of it. So once you've got that, then you've got the most important people on the project on your side because they've written this document, not you. The next thing then is to try to be able to facilitate 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 workshops, depending on how complex a project is, to break the project down, to recognize all the different deliverables in that project. In the US, it's called a work breakdown structure. In Europe, it can be called a deliverable map or deliverable breakdown structure. But that's good. That can take time and it takes practice. And that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm volunteering is I help a company to do that. I know nothing about the domain, but I just ask some basic questions and I keep repeating them. And we create this whole breakdown of a project using a mind map. And that's really super to do. But it takes practice. It takes real practice to do. So I like doing it. And I'm continually learning and getting better. Then once that's done, then you can do like a basic plan to figure out, okay, well, how is this project going to work in the future? It could be like, depending on the type of project, whether it's a predictive project, which we call waterfall, you can plan a lot up front. Whether it's an adaptive project, which we call agile, you can only plan for the first 1 or 2 months, but you plan as far as you can go. It's a very high level plan. The feedback from this is very important. Okay. Then for the deliverables for the first couple of months, then you can work on the specifications. So again, it's back to facilitation. You don't fill them in. You're the project manager. You facilitate the creation of these specification documents. And who do you have to have in the room? You need somebody from the user side, somebody from the technical side, and together we will fill in the specifications. Once specifications are done, then for the first couple of months, then you can start your project. And then it's giving these specification documents out to the team and let them work. So you see that I've never used the word task. I've always kept with deliverables, and we have deliverable specifications. Then you have your basic, of course, communication skills and stakeholders, keeping the stakeholders up to date. And you can basically break stakeholders up into two parts. Your internal ones, making sure that they're comfortable, the team, that they're okay to work, they have the right information and education, they feel good about what they are doing. And then the users, are they getting good information? Do they still feel comfortable about what the project is going to do, and so on? So that's done regularly. Maybe once a month is a good idea for that. And that's it. That's basically project management. That's what you should learn. Master those skills, get it into your DNA, and you will be a good project manager. Maybe there's one last thing. In PG Express, there's something called peer reviews, where when you're in the middle of it or you're starting a project and during the project, you should think about, well, not even think about, you should speak to other project managers and your peer and ask them for feedback. Show them what you've done and say, hey, what do you think of my approach to this planning for this or for this project or the plan for this month, So what happens there is just learning in two ways. That person you've asked will learn something from you, and you can learn something from them. And that way you will grow much quicker in your project management knowledge. So that's it.
Fantastic. You've spoken to, first of all, knowing who you are inside, and being confident and comfortable with who you are and how you present yourself. Then two, you spoke to understanding, of course, the project, then what methodology, what project management system you will basically leverage to effectively, efficiently get things going. You've spoken to, of course, being a great facilitator and communicator, being great with stakeholder management. You've spoken to being great with requirement gathering by engaging with the stakeholders and all that. And you will need them during planning. Of course, you would also need them during delivery management. So you should be great with delivery management. And one of the last point that you mentioned, that you added, was one of the things that could help you, especially if it's your first time as project manager. Peer review will definitely help a lot. There's an idea that says it's those who ask for directions, that they are the ones who eventually head somewhere and get somewhere.
Right.
And those who don't, just stay where they are. So that leads me to my last, it's not a question. Looking at everything discussed, any great suggestions to wrap this conversation?
Let me think. Yeah, there's one big secret that all project managers should know about. It's a secret, so I can't really tell you. Okay, I will tell you. There's an organization called Toastmasters. It's like a non-profit organization. They've got chapters in most big cities all over the world. And there you do public speaking. And it's really a skill that every project manager should practice. And when you join, your first couple of talks are probably rubbish. It doesn't matter. Everybody accepts this, but you will gradually improve them step by step. And you'll become a good, confident speaker very quickly. And it also helps with your facilitation skills, because once you become a speaker, like let's say for about 6 or 7 times, you can get the opportunity to host the meeting. So you are actually controlling the whole meeting, introducing new speakers. So you are facilitating the whole meeting and how that it works. You do that 2 or 3 times, and you can facilitate very good meetings at your work. You also meet great people. That's by far the biggest secret for project managers. Toastmasters. It's a good idea.
Awesome. There is one. I do belong. I used to be part of one, but
really?
I'm thinking of I'm thinking of joining again. There's one close to me here in Toronto, so I'm thinking of joining again because I've been so busy. But anyway, it's very, very important. Yes, I do concur with what Frank has said. Joining Toastmasters to improve your communication skills and how to address people off the cuff, right? Also, it will be very helpful.
Yeah.
Now, all that being said, what would be the best way if anyone wants to collaborate, anyone wants to engage with you, if anyone wants to has value to share with you, what's the best way to reach out to you from?
Okay, so I'm very fortunate that there are not many Frank Turleys in the world, and there's only a couple. The other is, if you type in Frank Turley in Google, you'll get me and another guy. The other guy is a blacksmith in the US, someplace. You will recognize his photo, and he's a very good blacksmith, actually. He's very well recognized. So you've got two guys, and you choose the one who's not a blacksmith, and that's me. Find me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and I'm happy to answer. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's the
Now,
best way.
in addition to that, any other way, would there be any other, or do you have, let me ask this question, do you have any product, service, or any workshop or any event coming up shortly?
It's best to keep an eye on my LinkedIn profile. I have a couple of things, but they're a bit organized by other people, and then I'm invited, so they're not open to the public. But if somebody wants to invite me to give a talk or a short course or a workshop and set that up and just invite me, I'm glad to do it. I'm happy to give up 2 or 3 or 4 hours of my time, provided it's organized well. If one person turns
Yes.
up, then maybe it's not a good idea, unless it's a private chat. Then, yeah, happy to do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. For the audience, we hope this has been very useful to you, especially for aspiring PMs, and especially with the myths that were shared also, and the different trains of thought that Frank did speak on. We hope this has been useful to you all. And if you have learned something, please let us engage. Please get to our YouTube channel, Life and IT Project Management. Comment on this specific video. Ask questions. If you have concerns, let us know. If you need clarifications, let us know. Get all that sorted out before you even think of either liking or sharing or hopefully subscribing to our channel, because you will continue to get great content from Life and IT Project Management. And it is possible that we will still invite Frank again on another topic. We will look forward to that. We hope that will happen. Until our next show, remember, every man is the architect of his own fortunes. Thank you.